Look at them spraying me the day before. Give it 2 of them. There. Oh, there. It's a hemp revival for our own survival. It's a hemp revival for our own survival. We have lost so much because of hemp prohibition. I planted hemp today. Planted hemp today.
We've been in business for ourselves in the hemp industry for 4 months now. We're newbies. We started a store in Douglasville. We carry different products. We carry the green hemp toad. Some of the people are familiar with the green hemp toad. And we also carry our own brand, Sankofa Wellness. Green hemp toad is in Meta, Georgia. They grow all of their own hemp, as well as they just begin to process some of it. Mostly they process in South Carolina though. And we get our stuff done in Colorado, and it's grown in Colorado and processed in Colorado, and we're white labeling right now. We have our stores at 3656 Highway 5. We sell really good products, everything is quality tested, all the different products. We sell tinctures, pet treats, pet drops, muscle lotions, massage lotions, bath bombs, you name it. If it can be hemp, we do it.
Greetings, amazing hemp educators and all of you incredible artisans out there. Our 4 p.m. has not shown up yet, so Victoria graciously said she would hit the microphone for you all. I am so grateful to introduce you, if you don't know her, to Victoria Collier. And she is a lawyer, but she has turned into a hemp processor and a hemp farmer. And I believe she is the pivotal reason why our hemp processing fee in Georgia has just been reduced $25,000, even though it was $10,000, and that's what we explained in the movie Hempdemic. Why the heck did they bring it back to $50,000 last year? So we hit the pavement, we went to the legislators, we did whatever we could, and we got a little bit of something, which is $25,000 less, which is still ridiculous. But I'm really excited to welcome Victoria to the microphone so she can share with you whatever she wants to inspire you with.
Hey, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Appreciate your time and attention. I'd really like to just talk about whatever you might be interested in hearing about, but so I'll take questions and everything, but before that I'll share a little bit of my experience. I was, as Aviva said, a lawyer. I've been a lawyer for 19 years, and my specialty was estate planning and elder care law. And so through the elder care law, I took care of people's health and wellness through asset preservation so that they could get access to health care through veterans benefits and Medicaid. I have a strong passion in that because I worked at a nursing home when I was younger as a nurse's aide, and I took care of people hands-on, and I saw the pain they went through, both emotionally and physically. And I was also I'm a veteran of the military, and so certainly we all know some of the trials and tribulations that veterans go through. And so when hemp became a possibility in Georgia, I just figured that I was going to be able to continue my mission to be able to help people eliminate their emotional and physical pain just in a different way than I'd always done it before. Before I could only do it through asset preservation, estate planning, and now I can actually grow and process products that help people on a much more personal level. And so that's what I've done. Last year I got my grow license, and I have an 87-acre farm out in Washington County. It's about 2 hours from here. We grew 14 acres last year, and because we had to plant so late in the season due to the state dragging their feet on when we could get our licenses, I actually doubled up on my acres and grew 3,500 plants per acre, which is a lot. And just so you know, prior to buying a farm, I still cannot grow a plant at home. So it was a big leap of faith for me. I sold my law firm to jump 100% into growing the hemp and teaching my kids. I've got 11-year-old kids, a boy and a girl, and I think it's just right that if we talk about recycling and we talk about our environment and doing better for the next generations, that I needed to actually walk the walk. And so my children are out there, they help on the farm, and my wife used to be an assistant district attorney, and so she used to prosecute cases for not medical, but for marijuana. And what a change we have become, you know. And so I'm proud to be able to have a family farm that is able to help so many people. And Aviva's right. There's been some bills that have been introduced that purported to help farmers, purported to help processors, but they weren't helping. They were only hurting. And so we had to make sure that we got in there and stood up for the farmers, especially. For those of you who may not know what goes on behind the scenes, none of the farmers got paid from their processors last year. And the reason the fee went from $10,000 to $50,000 is one particular processor wanted to shut out all other processors. And so they had help in writing that legislation and getting it passed, and so we needed to fight that, especially given that none of the processors, to include that one, paid their farmers. If we're going to have this industry in the state of Georgia, we need people to be able to grow it. And if they're growing it, then we need people to be able to process it. And that needs to be affordable. And so those are the changes that, due to Aviva dragging me down to the Capitol. I've been a lawyer for 19 years, and I've never been to the Capitol on any issue important to me until this one. So that's a change. I'm using my legal for other purposes.
She rocked it.
So
she brought like a 50-page thesis to them.
Oh, wow.
So that's the short of it. I'd be happy to share my experience or answer any questions that might be going on. I'm not the kind of lawyer that can help with getting people out of cannabis, like, you know, crimes, but I know people who can. And we're still going to be facing things like that until Georgia embraces it like so many other states have. And it's coming. It's coming.
281.
Yeah. All
Do y'all
right.
have any questions for Victoria?
Okay, there's a question right here.
So you say it's coming. Do you have any idea as to when?
So the question is, do we know when it's coming? Generally, that question is around legalizing adult use of marijuana, and so then we don't need to really make the distinction between hemp and medical marijuana. It's just then marijuana for adult use. You know, what's encouraging is just in this past month, Virginia approved it, New York approved it, and another state approved it. So on the federal level, both the House and the Senate are in favor of it. So it comes down to the state level. We can share with you that certainly in the state of Georgia, the people who are in the current administration in the state of Georgia, they'll do everything they can to prohibit anything that has to do with hemp, cannabis, medical marijuana, regular use marijuana, whatever. I mean, they're just doing everything they can. There are some key people that are in office in Georgia that are very in favor of it. And the good thing is they do ask the hard questions. They do challenge the status quo. There's just not enough of them yet that are holding office. So I think that, to answer your question, none of us have the crystal ball, but as the states tend to approve it, it's going to be a ripple. I think that Georgia will be one of the last two. So,
Alabama did it recently too, didn't they?
I'm not sure. Just medical. So with regard to the medical marijuana, Georgia also approved that, and they opened up the licenses for last year for people to apply for a medical marijuana license. There's only 6 licenses available. There's 2 that are for what's called Class 1 medical marijuana, and that's a facility that's up to 100,000 square feet. Then there's 4 licenses available for Class 2, which is a facility up to 50,000 square feet. There's criteria that the committee is looking at when applicants file their application. One is location. Is it in what's called a Tier 1 economic distressed county? And so Tier 1 is the poorest counties in the state. Tier 2 then is the second poorest, and then we get all the way up to Tier 4. For example, I'm part of a partnership that I'm very proud of because my partnership has 5 women. 4 of them are African American. 3 of us are veterans, and 3 of them are physicians. So we've applied for one of the 4 Class 2 licenses. And so they also look at minority status, they also look at veteran status, and then who knows what they look at behind closed doors when they're rubbing elbows, I don't know. But we should be hearing on April 30th, so in 7 days, who is in the top 12 contenders. There were 70 applicants that filed. Most of those applicants are huge companies from out of state that have lots of experience and lots of money. I don't know if you know who the Koch brothers are. They are huge contributors to like Republican campaigns, generally speaking. They have a ton of money, and they are one of the partners that's vying for one of the application, that filed an application. So that's kind of what we, as a small 5-member, all-female, all-minority company is up against as well, is companies like that. But fortunately, our property's in a Tier 1 county, so we've got all those advantages. But starting this year, once they approve the applications for the 6 people who have them, the 6 companies who have them, the law says, or the way they've written the regulations, is that we have to have the company, the building, and all the production up and running within 12 months for the medical marijuana side. So you're talking about, by this time next year, there'll be medical marijuana companies producing here in Georgia.
Say one thing. Yeah. Okay, before the next question, if you want to follow what's going on with this medical cannabis bill, it's SB 195, and HR 281 is a bill by David Clark that would allow the public to vote on whether or not to allow recreational cannabis. So it's there. So if we can all maybe close our eyes for a moment and just imagine it happening and being a reality. That might sound a little bit crazy, but it actually causes us to take action. So let's just take a moment, like 1, 2, 3, and feel that joy in your heart about it happening and that freedom. And now, because you feel that, you might just be inclined to make 5 phone calls to your legislators over and over, and email over and over and say, you have to support HR 281. You represent me.
I also have products that we are producing right now. We're just in the market research stage right now, but we have pet products as well as muscle gels and tinctures and things like that. So our property, I always welcome people to come and tour it. So if you want my information, I've got a business card. Just find me. Great. Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you so much, Victoria, and thank you so much for everything that you've done down at the It's not easy to drag people out there. I get rejected all the time, so thank you.
For people, but I started Cannabistro here in Atlanta, 2018. We rolled it out. We've been infusing in Georgia. We've been infusing in Georgia for the past 4 years almost, and we've had some problems, of course. We've had some challenges, of course, but when your why is bigger than the law, when your why is bigger than the legislators, when your why is bigger than the drama that you're going to get to have a business in this state, if your why is bigger than that, you just really don't give a flip, and I don't. So I fight, I press on, I keep moving on, and we just do what we have to do in this state. We've been shuttered during COVID, our physical location, and then we journeyed out to Tucker, Georgia. And that's been a real experience, because while we were in the process of building out our space, the city council had a meeting. Ultimately, the long and the short of it is, hey, we don't want any CBD in Tucker, Georgia. So they changed the ordinance against CBD. So we're talking about the thing that you can go into the store under normal circumstances and buy without a problem. They don't even want that in Tucker. So the long and the short of it is we packed our bags. Our landlord let us out of a 5-year lease, and we left. And so now we're in Decatur, where it's greater, and we are going to be celebrating this weekend reopening.
Where?
At 2118 North Decatur Road. Inside of the Nuts and Berries. We're in the back of Nuts and Berries. We'll be there this weekend with our first infused brunch of the year. So check us out. I think it's important that I share with you this particular part of the journey, because just because something is okay today and we get real comfortable about it being legal or okay right now, every county can make their own decision. Every city, every municipality can make their own decision. They can decide yes or no against whatever the state ultimately decides. And we already know that the state can ultimately decide whatever they want to decide against whatever the federal government decides. So this is never a time to get comfortable. And HR 281 is probably one of the most liberating bills that's been presented in Georgia, because what it does, in short, is this. It allows us, the constituents here in Georgia, to make the decision, not the politicians. We get to vote whether we want marijuana as marijuana legal in the state. We also get to vote on whether we want home grow, that I can have plants in my home of my own accord and it's nobody's business and I can grow. That's what HR 281 will allow. It also will hopefully remove the current provision that's been put in place by some of the current bills, even the bills where people are getting licenses, that says you cannot have some people want me to be real specific, but I just generally say felony, and I have a reason for generally saying felony because it really comes down to that. But the law says, or the bill says, that if you have a felony conviction, marijuana related felony conviction, you could never participate in this industry in the state of Georgia. That's what it says right now. So if you've ever been convicted of anything marijuana related at a felony level, Georgia will not allow you to participate in this industry. That's what's currently there. So 281 is also working towards changing and shaping part of that. 281 simply says, hey, let's vote at the Gold Dome to allow the citizens to make this decision. Let's amend the state constitution, because it requires an amendment, because this is not a ballot referendum state where you can go out and collect signatures and say, hey, we got all the signatures, let's put it on the ballot. That does not happen in Georgia. That's illegal. It's unconstitutional. So we have to go and change that. So Representative David Clark, who's a Republican, came and said, hey, let's change this whole process by proposing that we allow an amendment to the Constitution here in Georgia and put this on the ballot. You all think that's a good idea? Is that good? I think it's good. I think it's great. So some of the struggles we've been dealing with as business people, as owners, they have to do with the legalization parts, and even some of the things that we think are legal. We're fighting those things. But most importantly, I believe CBD is a sexy new superfood. I think that's one of the reasons why hemp-based CBD, along with the full plant, I think they're all sexy superfoods. But CBD is absolutely sexy because it's so versatile. And everybody can.
We grow vegetables all year round. We use greenhouses, high tunnels. Last year was our first year of hemp. We grew 10 acres last year. As you can see, my shirt says hemping ain't easy. And it surely isn't. I'm married to a wonderful man, my husband, William Burnell. My husband grew hemp actually 40 years ago, back in Iowa, 1932. 42, I'm sorry, I'm telling his age. But anyway, I'm just happy to be here. I can answer some questions about my hemp drama, my hemp story, my hemp failures, and my hemp success. Any questions?
So what is your story? What got you involved in hemp?
Well, I'm a farmer. I love all crops. I love vegetables, and I love the hemp plant itself. I love the healing, the health properties, and I love the things that you can do with hemp. So, of course, as being a farmer, that enticed me to want to grow hemp, as well as the other side of the story, being an African-American female, and the drama and the things that has happened in our life and my family behind hemp. Of course, I wanted to take advantage of being one to grow hemp and to pass on the generational wealth to my children and my grandchildren. I actually have great-grandchildren who all work on the farm. So yeah, we are a family-owned farm.
What was your favorite thing about growing cannabis this year?
My favorite thing about growing cannabis this last year was actually the fact that I could go out in my front yard, pick cannabis, go in my home, make my own butter. I still infuse it in teas. We were, just experimenting with some of the vegetables that we grow on the farm, having fun in the kitchen with the cannabis. Really, it was what was my best part. And the smell, I love the smell.
That is a huge benefit. Everyone should be able to just grow their own cannabis in their own backyard, ready to grow. What was your least favorite thing about growing cannabis this year?
My least thing about growing the cannabis is that we stepped out and we grew a large amount for our organization. And we are still waiting to be paid for our hemp that left our land several months ago, back in October. So that's my least thing about is being in the red right now. Still trying to regroup and this year grow as well.
Are you hopeful that you'll... Oh, go ahead.
Do you have an actual license to grow, or you just have grow?
I actually have a grow license. I have a hemp growing license. I had one last year, and you can't grow hemp legally in the state of Georgia without a license. So yeah, I got my hemp license about 2 weeks ago for 2021. The salsa's doing really well. We are in the process of putting a salsa on market that is infused with hemp.
So one of the things that happened, besides getting the $25,000 fee lowered, was that when Victoria brought up, and she brought a bunch of farmers out there too who had been screwed over by the processors, when she talked about that and brought that up, it was discussed in the committee. They said, well, we need to take this seriously. We need to help them get their money. So it's not just about going down there. It's not just about the final law, but it's about the conversation. And Tamie wouldn't have been here today if she didn't see me post about how Gary Black literally said, and it's on video, if any farmer in this room, come talk to me. I will help you get your money back. Talk is cheap, but...
For everybody that is here, and I'd love to talk to you. Anybody haven't been paid? Has anybody called on the bond? There's a $100,000 bond, and those require inaction with us, and we're happy. And I'd love to talk to everybody today. If you haven't been paid, we have to call on that bond. That's what you do with every other commodity. That's what you do with corn. That's what you do with vegetables.
We have that on video.
If we don't know somebody's not paid, we can't call on the bond. So we'd be happy to do that, and so we'd be happy to do that. And we don't know somebody's not paid. That's what you do with pecans.
We have that on video, and we're having this conversation, and we have to keep talking about it to get these processors to be accountable. And I invited the news out here, but they hadn't come. And I ran into them at the Capitol one day, and I begged them to put that story. And Doug Richards from Channel 11, he said he'd come with me to your farm.
Let's hope.
So where are you at with that? Have you had any communication?
I have reached out for the past 3 weeks to Commissioner Black's office. I spoke with a young man named Jason. I cannot pronounce his last name, but he stated that there has been no other farmers in the state of Georgia that has complained about not receiving payment, and that there's only
proof on video he knows about the farmers.
Yeah, so that's what I was told, and that I would need to get some more proof and some more farmers to come to him with this issue. That's what I was told.
If we don't know somebody's not paid, we can't call on the bond.
And that there's only a $100,000 surety bond.
You're owed what?
I'm owed I'm owed over $597,000. I'm owed over $597,000.
I would like to say that one of the changes in the law that we were able to get was that they increased the surety bond up to $300,000 for processors, which as a processor, I think 300 is still too low when farmers are owed $500,000.
We all know that if Chairman Watson had a vegetable issue, $300,000 won't even touch it.
But nonetheless, it's an increase from 100, so it's still good and it protects the farmers.
What's your second favorite vegetable to farm?
My second favorite vegetable would actually be okra.
Yes.
I love me some okra.
Yeah.
The first would be tomatoes. Again, we're located in Royston, Georgia. We do sell a lot of veggies. If anybody wants vegetables, look up BurnellFarms.org. Sometimes we do deliver. We actually delivered today to an urban farm here in Atlanta called Truly Living Well. So
how did you know how to grow hemp? Was there anything that you learned new this year just by experiencing it?
Being a farmer, there's nothing really new that I learned about growing hemp. Honestly, to be truthful, I didn't want to sound, but there is nothing that I really knew about
You're
hemp.
humble. She knows everything. What if other people were growing it? Would you say it's a lot different than growing other vegetables, or?
In my case, it was actually a lot easier than growing a lot of other vegetables.
In what way?
Hemp actually does its own thing. You know, you don't have to really that baby takes care of itself. You just make sure she's getting the water and the nutrients, and you can let her go. Now, it's not like your okra where you got to get out there every day and pick that okra, because if not, you're going to have okras this big, in about 2 days, or zucchini or squash. You got to maintain that plant. You got to keep up with it. With okra, you just want to make sure you got your pests, keep the pest under control, and keep her watered and in the proper nutrients. And let her do her thing.
Do you feel like you have more of a relationship with the cannabis than other vegetables when you work with them?
I may sound weird, but I talk to all my plants, all my vegetables. All right. Well, I don't have more of a relationship with none of them. I call all my plants, my seedlings, my babies. So they my babies, and we take care of them, and we love on them so they can love us back. We have excess cannabis that we actually are using for compost from last year.
I have a question. What do you use for your pesticide?
It's an organic pesticide, and I can't remember the name of it. That my husband here maybe can. Do you remember the name of it? I don't remember the name of it, but it's really, really good, and it's very, very expensive. It's like $300 for a gallon. So, but it's really good. I don't think we had to use it twice last year. It did the job. Yeah. But 30 gallons. Yeah, with 2 tablespoons to 30 gallons. It's good stuff.
Here, what do you want? What's the best thing that can come, you think, from meeting all these incredible people?
The best thing that could come is for us to pay us our money. I didn't mean to say their name, but I did, didn't I?
But like how much of a legal team do you have now?
I actually have an attorney, but we're waiting to get some responses from the calls that we've placed to that organization, and nothing, and hopefully hear something from Commissioner Black's office before we continue to proceed, because we were told if we go ahead and proceed that he would be arrested, and if he's arrested, how can he pay us? That's my question,
Well, let's keep this conversation going. And are you growing this year?
Yes, I'm growing 2 acres this year. 2 acres.
Have you found other reputable processors too?
Well, actually, when I got my license, you have to say that who's your processor, and you can state that your processor is out of state, and that's exactly what I stated, that my processor is out of state, even though I haven't located him yet.
That was clever.
Yeah.
And you don't have to sign a processor on it,
No, so I got my license. That's all that matters to me.
Did I hear a question over here?
I was agreeing with her. Hey, he out there. Yeah, he probably doesn't tell you, but he's somewhere.
Yeah, he's
somewhere.
Well, she'll be back tomorrow, so if you have another question, that you come up with, write it down so you don't feel rushed, as if you only have 2 minutes to speak to your legislator.
And you guys can reach out to me, burnellfarms.org, and I got cards, and if anybody ever wants to come to the farm, we definitely will allow you to come down there and check us out.
When's harvest?
Well, we're harvesting right now vegetables because we grow all year round, but we have not put our hemp in the ground yet. I'm looking for the right genetics right now. I'm really looking for the right genetics. So we're wanting to start planting in May, but it looks like we're going to move it to July.
Wow.
You're welcome.
Day to support some hemp. It's a beautiful day to support some hemp. Any queens in the Atlanta area, you should come on down. What's this town called? Hapeville? Come on down to Hapeville, where we support all things hemp for the next 2 days. There's a lot of awesome stuff going on around here. Look, you even got your Mr. Fungi, the guy for all of your fungi needs. And this is a dispensary over here. They're giving away free samples of stuff. We have the music guy. We have our main lady back there underneath the umbrella. I haven't checked out that one yet. Here's our Grateful Dead tent going on over here. You got a lot of cool jewelry and whatnot. And then of course, Kush Queens. Kush Queens all the way. Guys, look, Victoria's here. Yes! All right, much love to all y'all.
And then the very first live screening of Hempdemic began. In the sunshine.
Very attentive audience here. Watching on the laptop because it's too bright to see it on the screen.
And how
You must be accountable to the children.
I have become comfortable with raising it to the level that it's going to. I will tell you there are some in the industry that want it as high as $250,000.
Along that same theme, those they were fully along with assisted the American Army during the American Revolution. In addition, they built an incredible fortune on flexing a special ingredient discovered since they moved to the Americas in their upgraded gunpowder recipe, which
L-U-C-I-D-O.
Is it earlier?
So it does look like Republicans and Democrats are sticking together.
Banks are in this venture together. When these three parties team up, the money goes to our state. To keep this
never stops.
Almost 100 years ago, the soybean crops were yield. The crop can grow from Alaska to Florida. Once we get our community banks to fund the building of the processing centers, farmers grow the hemp, sell it to the processing centers, the final product is retailed and taxed, tons of people are employed, and the state of Georgia gets that employment tax. Taxes collected from hemp products could subsidize Georgia farming programs because it's produced here in the state of Georgia, taxed in our state of Georgia, providing the economy locally in all of your districts and statewide. It's exciting to look at the historical relevance.
Hempdemic 2020. We gotta get this right, or this world is not gonna be healthy. Now, William Rodriguez had. Now, why is the inspection fee so high?
Being able to know more information about this makes me.
Yes, it is.
And this is amazing.
It is amazing.
Shout out to the president. You're amazing.
Shout out to Aviva.
Oh, thank you.
Shout out to Aviva.
I love this country.
Why aren't we all being handed a pre-roll?
love to get in front of your picture.
Yes. I don't have a, my camera's not working.
And a 1, and a 2, and applesauce. You watching this, you are truly the amazing one, the amazing ones. I can't believe you watched this whole thing, absorbing this Georgia reality of needing to free this beautiful vegetable. Join me. Thank you so much for everything you've already done. So many of you have been doing this for longer than I have. Big love to all of you who made this event possible and showed up and shared so much, and all of you just doing what you do and being who you are. Stay tuned for the footage for the second day of this Springfest. In the meanwhile, please get your comments in today. You see, Georgia just said there's this comment period now about the changed hemp rules. So just put your voice in there. Be heard. You can do this. We can do this. We got this. Because I think all of us are truly ready to grow.
25,000 and a subsequent year. Yeah. I think where it reads now, it's 50 for 2021. And so we got a 25 for this year and subsequent years. We got that.
How about no processing fees?
And I don't know how much people owe y'all. We'll sit here and listen long at the end, but I want to know how much they owe you. But if they owe you, they'll pay you.